Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. And we have a big show for you this week as we preview the best of the action from British Champions Day at Ascot. Of course, all races live on Sky Sports Racing. The lads have made the effort for this episode as well. Rixie suited and booted yet again.
Yeah, big week. Yeah, sadly, I was going to wear the flat suit because, it's kind of the end of the black suit. It's the end of the flat season, a bit sad. I like the L flat and the jumps is coming. But, yeah, it's a big week, so got a half-decent suit on.
Nicely done. So nice to know that you're in mourning for this show.
I'm in mourning,
basically.
yes, exactly. But hopefully that won't stop us getting a few winners.
Not in mourning for your winner last week, though, as well, Bolster. Your nap was a non, so you went with the next best. Which
the next best went in. A good old Bolster went off 105 for the Calandagan team. But I think all the last week's plaudits go to this man.
I know, it doesn't matter where he is in the world, he finds winners.
He had a superb week, so go on, rattle him off and we'll get on with the show.
Well, look, I was delighted the jumpers were back because Josh, the boss, certainly did the business at Qipco, which was good little card. They enjoyed those 2 days. And,
what price?
I think it was about 16s, 11s, somewhere in that region. I can't remember.
16, 11s?
11 to 1, 16 to 1, that sort of region. Let's take it as
just
the SP.
Let's
go with the SP, yeah. We'll go 11s. And then I think the Cesar, which I was one of those people that was left frustrated, I think it's fair to say. Those rules need looking at once again. I feel like there's a lot of punters out there.
The BHA need looking at. That's what needs looking at, to be honest.
One thing I would suggest is the jockeys have to count. At some point, maybe the stewards are going to have to do the same thing. We've only had 3 disqualifications since these rules have come in. And from a bookmaker's perspective, it is really hard, the idea of not paying out quickly. It's what punters want. But they also need accuracy, and there was a lot of fingers burnt because of that overturned result, and it's a frustrating situation that needs looking at.
Sam, on a positive note, you've got an offer to plug.
I have. It's a big weekend, isn't it? So, big weekend of sport. We need a big offer. Bet 10 on Champions Day, and you'll get 50 in bonuses. That's broken down into £5 on every single race at Champions Day, £10 on sports, and £10 on the football, because Premier League action returns after the international break. Some mouth-wateringly good games. I'm looking forward to Liverpool-Chelsea myself on the Sunday. But yeah, loads to get stuck into. Terms and conditions apply. Get involved and let's find you some winners.
Right, we'll get stuck into the action, but before we do so, a reminder as ever to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will also do our best to pull you in the right direction. Right, we begin with the 155. This is the Group 1 British Champions Sprint Stakes, 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs. So wide open contest. Dear old Kim Ross back in this race yet again. 9-2 favourite in here, Dex. So do you take him on?
A little bit of a miserable start to the show with us because the BHA, they just keep beating us down, man. But this card at Ascot tomorrow is an absolute belter. It is so good.
You can't ruin it. You can't ruin it,
is so competitive, and it's just proper racing. None of this 4 to 6 shot in a Grade 1 the Cheltenham Festival stuff. And we kick off with an absolute belter. 20 runners just to get to grips with. Pace right across the track. Usually when the ground is soft at Ascot, being low is the place to be, and I'm hope that's going to be a good draw for my fancy, who at the prices is a big price in terms of ability, and that is Elite Status, who is not even on that graphic there now. Now, the big worry with him is obviously the ground, like a few in here, but he does have form as a juvenile in soft ground, both in France and at Doncaster, and I hope he will handle it better than a good few in there. If he does, I think he's a big price at 14 or 16 to 1. This is him winning the Hackwood earlier in the season, which came on good ground, and if you remember, after this race, I actually put him up for the Haydock Sprint Cup, but I think any horse that was drawn really high at Haydock was fighting a losing battle that day. I thought there was quite a significant pace and draw bias to those drawn low, and it didn't suit him. It's an easy race to forgive. What I love this day is he travels with such ease, but watch now, once he gets to the front here, he just pricks half an ear, and I just get the feeling we haven't got anywhere near to the bottom of him. Like I say, the ground is a worry, but he does have form and soft ground. He'll be a win-only bet for me at that kind of price for the Calandagan team, who still remain in top order.
Yeah, they've had an unbelievable season, haven't they? I mean, it feels like when do they not nowadays, but definitely now. So that would sign off with a nice win for them with Elite Status. Sam, who do you like?
Really interesting race. I must confess, these have been a bit of an Achilles heel for me, these sprints through the season.
Everyone.
I think they've been tricky. But The race itself is a really interesting shape to it. Kinross for me at 9-2. Just a shade too short, but I thought Montesab was fascinating here. Obviously, a winner last time out at Haydock, and curiously, that race, when I go back through the annals of looking at this race, you almost don't want to win the Sprint Cup because it feels like the winners don't have a great record when they come here. But the actual race has thrown up the winner of this on several occasions. His record on soft is pretty strong as well, which is what you want. I think he's 3 from 3 on soft ground. There's a blemish on heavy, but we're watching him in action here back on the all-weather surface. But he's definitely a horse that I think will go places. I feel like they found the key to him. Interesting, the connections quotes after the win at Haydock were slight concerns about the ground and really looking forward to earmarking this race. It's a natural place to come after winning there. I think there could be more to come. And I think that price of, 11-2, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a little bit shorter. Just to mention on the betting as well, I was trying to work out what could shorten from a big price. I think audience will certainly have a few backers. I've got a funny feeling that could be your smash up when you're looking for a horse that's going to shorten. So if you like him, I'd get involved early doors.
Well, he's got the single best piece of form in this race, hasn't he? 2 good pieces of form, that Lockenge win and the Lennox Stakes win. That are the 2 strongest pieces of form, but he hasn't shown himself to be a sprinter, and arguably he probably wants quicker ground.
Yeah, he is the real spanner in the works though here, isn't he? Where, again, he would be a win-only bet for me there. But we talk about this race and we see the low draws coming to the fore time and time again. And last year, for all that we associate the straight track at Ascot with those hold-up performers, very difficult to make all. So perhaps that's why he opened up at about this kind of a price audience. But then you see this race last year, low draw, far side, makes all then. And it's going to be very difficult to do.
Big Rock made all on this card as well last year. But we should just say, sorry, Kate, before you go into your selection, 2 years ago when Kinross won this race, the horses drawn middle to high actually came out on top. So we're going to need a little bit of luck with where the quickest ground on the track is. Yeah,
very, very tricky to know exactly where to go with this. And the horse that now we're seeing in vision that I'm siding with is going to be Swing Along each way. Now, she actually ended up on the wrong side of a track from a cracking draw in this race last year that we're looking at, which was the aforementioned renewal then of this contest last year, with Kinross just coming off second best to the horse that went on and made all. But Swing Along, though, for me, she hasn't got as favourable a draw this time around. She's outdrawn in 13. At least in this size of a field, she actually has options in this one there. She might be able to go over then to that far side. And as I say, from an each-way perspective, to outrun her price, I'm hoping she's going to be able to, if she just runs up to the same form as last year in this, then she should be bang there again. She was 4 for 25 to 1 last year. She's officially rated £6 higher, hence why she is shorter price this time around at 12 to 1 rather than the 25s. But of course, as I say, that she can, I guess you can make the case potentially this is a better renewal this time around than it was last year, probably marginally so, but last year was better than this time around. But yeah, so Swing Along then for me at 12 to 1 each way. Sam, just to reiterate.
Montesab for me, definitely, I think will end up maybe even going off favourite.
And Deck?
I'm elite status, win-only bet, hoping he will handle the ground and no more rain comes at Ascot.
Taking on those at the head of the market then in that Sprint Stakes, which is a wide open contest. Do let us know who you fancy in the comments section below. Right, the 235 up next, the Group 1 British Champions, Fillies and Mares Stakes, 3-year-olds and over a mile 4. Calpana, she is a clear favourite in this one, Sam, but that price, does it interest you, or are you willing to take her on?
No, I think, especially in this division, I'm always willing to maybe try and think a little bit outside the box. And Calpana, for me, right favourite, just too short, really, at around that price. And I'm a little bit disappointed because I saw some competitors were a bigger price, actually, about Content, who's going to be my each-way play. And at 6 to 1, you could probably just about get away with putting her up each way. Very disappointing last time out in France, but you've got to just put a line through that run, I think. And she's been arguably very good and then kind of very moderate at times. There seems to be no real middle ground with her. But flicking back through the form book, I think there's plenty to suggest that she's good enough to win a race of this nature. I go back and I sort of just think to myself, flicking through, that long shot run, just too keen, didn't give herself any chance. But you go back to the Yorkshire Oaks, and in spite of pulling, she won that. And that looked a really fair renewal. She was 3rd to Blue Stocking earlier on in the season. Ground, I believe she's versatile enough on. Declan's obviously alluded to the weather. I think we're going to get a load of rain in the morning. I think it'll definitely be proper soft all the way through the card, sadly, which is a bit of a shame. But we've still got a good lineup here. I felt like she was possibly the one that I wanted to take the favourite on. With Ryan Moore Keeps the Faith, which I think is an interesting move when he had the alternative selection in here that he could have gone for. I just was trying to find something against the favourite. And I know, listen, second favourite's not exactly the most original selection, but at the prices, I thought she was very fair.
Would you like to hear my nickname for content?
Go on.
I've called her the Pound Shop Trev. Because she,
Oh, dear.
yeah. Well, no, don't get me wrong. Trev was an absolute superstar,
Yorkshire Oaks winner.
right?
But okay,
and she is very good.
yeah.
But she is so keen. She should not be winning Group 1s. It just goes to show you how much ability she has. If you go back and watch Trev's races, you're like, how is this horse ever going to get home? So, yeah, the Pound Shop Trev, not quite as good, but still a proper one.
But the 3-year-olds in here have a great record as well, which is something I'm going to cling to. And I also feel like maybe, Dec, in spite of that, she can put in a big effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think we should mention as well, this is going to be switched to the inner track, isn't it, at Ascot, which the ground is going to be better. And I think
they drew a lot of rain tonight, though. But like I say, it'll still be better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It still will be better.
Right,
you know, that's a track that hasn't been watered all year. So I think that the switch to the inside track will definitely suit Kalpana, Content and Tiffany all very well for two reasons. One, I think just better ground, but the other thing is stamina. I think this track it's about 76 yards shorter than the outside tracks, and I just have a small little worry about an end-to-end gallop potentially exposing stamina chinks in Kalpana and Content as well, and Tiffany. And maybe the key horse to this race is Wingspan, the other Aidan O'Brien horse, because I think she will go forward, and you know, you wonder, given Content is so keen, are Ballydoyle going to have to go a good gallop here to help her switch off and let her get home? I'm hoping that's going to be how the race pans out, because that will definitely suit my horse, who is Guantanamera, a horse trained in Germany, who is a really strong travelling sort of filly. As you can see here, she's got a hood on here. Now, I think she's been very underrated in the market. I thought this was a mega performance this day. She beat Arrest. Now, I've got Arrest very, very wrong this year. I thought he could potentially develop into an ARC candidate. You can see the size of him there. I just thought he was going to get way better from 3 to 4, but it didn't pan out. But even a dim view of this run, look at her scampering away from him there, and he looked like he was in good order on the day. I think he ran his race. Like, that form is definitely among the strongest in this race, so I'm happy to back her at 9 to 1. She is a little bit of a keen goer, as I say, so I hope they go a good gallop, and if all that rain comes overnight as a son or as a daughter of Lope de Vega, that will definitely suit her. So yeah, Guantanamera for me for Stefan Pasquier, who's got a good book of rides at Ascot on Saturday.
I'm really pleased that you picked her out, actually, because when I did see her in the betting, I was like, I really need someone to remind me anything about this filly here. So thank you for doing exactly that. 9 to 1 shot as well. So one of those that is fancied enough in this, considering she brings in that kind of unexposed profile, I guess, from our perspective into here. I'm just going to play this race with a straight back. Kalpana for me, 85 to 40, heading the way. But I guess the ground is going to be potentially one of the biggest concerns for her, and that's really the only thing I can throw at her regarding this. But the price obviously isn't enticing. It's not necessarily a penalty kick, but I do think she'll take the world of beating. Continues to progress nicely. Still lightly raced, only 7 career starts, winning 4 of them. And we're looking back 3 runs ago when she finished 3rd at Royal Ascot in the Group 2 Ribblesdale Stakes on the conventional mile 4 at Ascot, beaten just 2 lengths. But since this run, she's won her next 2, improved with each of them, including at Kempton last time out. Really well backed into even money favouritism and taking advantage of the weight she was getting from her rivals, which she is again here, obviously, as you say, Sam, being a 3-year-old and being one of those that's advantaged by the weight concessions in here, getting the £6. Not taking on the boys this time as she did last time out, though. And as I say, with the ground being a slight concern, but as you say, though, Rixie, on that inside track now, hopefully it'll just level the playing field somewhat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do like Kalpana. I just think the 2 races that she's won, visually she's been unbelievably impressive, but they didn't go much of a gallop, and she looks like a horse who would be quite comfortable even over 10 furlongs, as we saw earlier in the season behind Friendly Soul. I like her, but I hope the rain comes and beats her.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I like the price just wasn't overly enticing.
Yeah, but to be fair, you're getting a bigger price now. I'm sure she was about 5 to 4.
Yeah, she was. It needed to drift out
she's
a little bit. You had to sit
better
on
bet
it.
now. Yeah,
you really did. So hopefully, anyway. But again, a bit of disagreement there between the 3 three of us for the Fillies and Mares. Again, do let us know who you fancy.
All you
for
needed
the
was a
contest.
pink jacket and you would have had nearly the Judmont
Actually,
silks.
this is complete Judmont, isn't it? After I got the Irish... It is, yeah, after I got the Irish call-up from you earlier on now, just to add an orange blazer to it.
We've had a little bit of fun with Kate this morning. I said if she had an orange jacket, she'd be turning up as the Ivory Coast.
Yeah, Côte d'Ivoire.
And if she's got an pink jacket, she could have been Judmont. So there you go.
Exactly, I'm just blending into every scenario.
Sam and I are actually the real style gurus of this show.
The real style gurus, I know, and I appreciate your feedback every single week, which I do get as well. Every single week from them. Right, before we move on to our next race and get away from the fashion segment, a reminder as ever to hit subscribe on YouTube. Maybe I should have left that for an earlier piece rather than on the back of the fashion talk there. But if you want any fashion advice or tips, do subscribe on YouTube and also hit the bell notification so you never miss a fashion update. Right, we're going to move on to the 3:15 now at Ascot. The Group 1 Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, 3-year-olds and over a mile. Chariot, favourite for Roger Varian, 6-4 favourite deck. Play or lay?
I don't know. I'll have splinters on my bum and maybe just watch at that price. Look, again, this is another very good race, another really competitive race. Just in terms of pace and how it'll set up, I can see maybe the free going Prague going forward. He looks better suited to be just let stride on. He looks to be fighting with Danny Tudhope in his two earlier starts, and I think when Danny let him stride on at Newmarket last time out, he just settled a bit better in front. He will go forward. I think Poker Face will probably go forward as well, and maybe Metropolitan won't be too far away, and the Roger Teal horse, is it? Sorry, his name escapes me. Dancing Gemini, they might go forward. And I think that a kind of good, honest pace will suit all the market leaders here. But this is going to be Charon's 7th start to the season, and he's the type of horse who never gives himself an easy race. Like, he's had an unbelievable season, run so many times. He's been the outstanding miler. But I just kind of hope in some ways that this is a race too many for him in terms of having a bet, and I'm going to have a fresh and value approach in this race. I'm going to go with good old Factor Cheval, or as we call him in the office, Factor Horse. And this is him second in the race last season. And look, there's going to be no big rock in here to face this year. And I thought he was a little bit unlucky with how this race panned out. He hit the lids really well, but he was taken back early because he was quite keen to get some cover. But I just love how he stayed on late. I'm hoping they'll be a little bit more prominent with him in terms of how they ride in this year, because front runners in prominent races really did do well on this track and at this meeting last year. But he started the season with a very good win out in Dubai, in the Dubai Turf, a race that has been working out really well. Then he was given a bit of a strange ride in the Queen Anne. The ground was too quick from there, and I thought he ran really well given conditions were too fast for him, and it was a kind of a tactical race early in the Sussex Stakes. This looks to be his time of year. Any rain that comes would be an absolute bonus for him, and I just think he's the value play. That the peak of his levels are very much in the peak of Charon's on my figure. So I'm happy if you're giving me a value bet, you're rather going to take 9-1, a better fresher horse versus 6-4. I'm going to take the 9-1 all day, baby.
You've sided with him before, haven't you?
I have. I've got a bit of a soft spot for this lad. I do.
I associate him with you, to be fair, back to Cheval. So going in again then at 9-1. Sam, who have you got a soft spot for?
Yeah, Deck's trying to find value. I'm trying to find the winner, Deck.
Oh.
Tamfana for me. I can't believe Deck's abandoning her.
A bookie who doesn't want a man back in value. There you go. That's it. Says all you need to know.
Tamfana for me. I can't believe Deck's abandoning her after she did us a good turn, didn't she, when we all tipped her up for the Sun Chariot. And I thought that race was obviously a very deserving win for her. We go back through her record this season. Obviously unlucky, it's fair to say, in that 1,000 guineas. And she's just a very, very likeable horse for David Minissier, who's hitting the season, finishing the season in great form. I think he's at about a 24% strike rate at the moment. The softer ground, I definitely don't think will inconvenience her. 3-year-old in the race, which always ticks a nice box when you go back through the stats and trends. She just, for me, is it one race too many? She's had a busy kind of end to this season. I hope not, Deck, because I think she's certainly the one that I'd want to take the favourite on with. Really respect Charon, but as you've alluded to, busy season for Charon, you know, really having to dance all those dances. And a bit curious, isn't it? Sylvester Sousa takes the ride, but he's obviously had a bit of a break because of whip ban, but haven't seen much of Sylvester, have we? And I don't know. Listen, he's a very good jockey, isn't he? I'm sure he'll come back in fresh, and who knows, maybe a little break will have rejuvenated him, and that's not a major issue. But for me, I was trying to take the favourite on. Tamfana was kind of the best bet I could find. Best of luck to Connections of Prague. Obviously, it's a wonderful story, but sadly, we're thinking with not sentiment, but with our brains.
I know. It would be great to see.
If he wins, I did some job getting him beat at Hayes on Tuesday. My God.
It's all right. You and Ballydor can be in the same camp then for regrets over Prague if that happens.
Correct.
But as our producer Ben just said, that my outfit is actually matching Tamfana as well. So the chameleon fashion.
So surely you're sticking with recent winning nap, Kate?
No. Sentiment has no room in this game at all, though.
Correct.
Neither does the fashion sentiment either. So I'm going for a horse whose colours I'm not wearing whatsoever. Charin, who I adore. I feel like I want to lead his fan club here. And you do say about Sylvester de Sousa taking the ride, 24-day whip ban he had. But even then, he was due to come back, I believe, on about the 13th of October. Yet today, on Friday, as we record, is the first day back for him. He's got 4 rides at Newcastle on the all-weather. So his first turf ride back for about a month is going to be on the favourite in a Group 1 then on Charin. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty tricky then for Sylvester de Sousa. However, despite all of that, I'm hoping Sylvester de Sousa's experience will come to the fore and Charin can win it yet again. A horse, like you say, who's just had probably one of, if not the best season then of all horses in terms of how heavily he's been campaigned, the races that he's been contesting as well. Now, this one, I actually think he's enhanced his profile in defeat in the Prix de Moulin. Now, the winner of this race, Tribeless, just completely got away from them, given a really good front-running ride by Mikel Barcelona on a big-priced long shot as well. And I actually don't blame the jockeys in behind. It was just one of those really annoying racing incidents where everything conspires against those in behind and the big price horse just goes and steals a march on them. But just look at Charin. He tries all the way to the line.
He's such a likeable horse.
He's so likeable.
Yeah.
He's so game. And I just love the fact that with age, he's getting better and better with each of his seasons as well. And therefore, hopefully thriving off of his racing as well. So for all he's had a heavy campaign, I hope that this will crown him as the best miler.
This is going to be his swan song, isn't it? Because he's off to stud in France after this, I think, Charin.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been a cracking horse. It'd be interesting to hear what Roger Varian says about him, because Roger has got this horse spot on all year. I remember ahead of Royal Ascot, he was saying, I wish the race was tomorrow. We've got him in great order. He said that at other couple of times when he won as well. So it'd be interesting to hear what Roger thinks and what kind of place he's in after a busy season.
Yeah, I love listening to Roger Varian. Even after that race, he's always so measured and he was so magnanimous yet again in defeat. But even then, you can see just a squeak of frustration for him because he knew what good form he was in. So yeah, do watch out for those Roger Varian quotes. Again, we're all disagreeing once more in the Group 1 at QE2. Do let us know who you fancy for that contest in the comments section below. Right, the 355 now at Ascot, another Group 1 for you. The Group 1 Champion Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 10 furlongs. An absolute cracker, Sam. Economics and Calandagan, Britain versus France. Ireland also there as well, but we've got the proper matchup we wanted, so who wins? Yeah,
I was equally as dismissive of Los Angeles chances, not because I don't like the horse, but because I just think coming off the back of that run in France, this is a massive ask to come in. It's not like this is a soft rate. I love King's Gambit, but I'm not convinced that the ground's going to be right for him. So that leads me to the front pair in the market, doesn't it? And I was a Team Economics kind of guy, but the more I've looked at this race, the more I'm actually being a bit of a turncoat, and I'm going French. I think Calandagan can get the win. Obviously, ground is going to be a big issue here, and I personally believe whilst his sort of better performances have come on the sounder surfaces, he's got enough in the book to suggest to me that softer ground won't be an issue, whereas I'm yet to really see that from Economics. I'm sure people that want to back him will tell me that he'll handle it. He's a really good horse. He's a really, really good horse. And you know, we're watching him win here at Ascot impressively, but that run the last day at York, where he was only a length off City of Troy and gave City of Troy a real proper race, I felt, that day. I kind of value that form at least on a par with Economics' win against Auguste Rodin over in Ireland. I thought that was a very good ride from Tom Marquand. So at the prices as we stand right now, I'm going French.
But do you want the Rixie's ratings for the horses?
I'll have Rixie's ratings.
Calandagan 125, Economics 123. So if that's only £2 between them, which I think over 10 furlongs is just over a length. So
surely
we'll see. But it's interesting.
France.
I'm not. No, I'm pro Brexit. This one actually with Economics. But Calandagan, I suppose the thing with him is since he's come to Britain and run a Royal Ascot and then the Juddmonte, there's been a big uptick in his form. And I wonder, is that because of the ground, even though he's a French horse, he's by Glen Eagles. Is it actually quick ground that has brought out the best in him, or is he just a very good horse who's an improving 3-year-old he has got form in soft ground in France? But I'm with Economics. I just get the feeling with him that the ground's been mentioned a couple of times this season with him, that it's been a little bit too quick. And when you see now the size of this guy, you know, could he turn into the mighty Cracksman once he gets his toe in on kind of softer ground? Because he's a big horse, you know, he gallops there like he kind of go with a little bit of cut in the ground. He's also by Katie Tracey's favourite sire, Night of Thunder. Yes. So everything about him suggests he could be even a little bit better on this ground, as long as it doesn't get brutally soft. That's good old JRB there in second, who is Frank the Form. And after this, he obviously went on to win the Irish Champion Stakes. And I saw people kind of rubbishing Economics after the race, saying, oh, I wasn't really that impressed with him and so on.
Oh, that's very mean.
Like, it would seem
crazy. Like to beat a horse of Gus Rodin's ability on quick ground takes a fair bit of going. Now, I don't think Gus Rodin's a superstar or anything, but the trip Economics had was absolutely disgusting. He was 3 and 4 wide everywhere, didn't get any cover. Tom Marquand also made quite a significant mid-race move to get him into a good early position. He was headed, looked beaten, and then came back and just put his whole body on the line to get back up and beat Gus Rodin. He's one horse you do not want to be eyeballing, but I do think the race will set up well for him as well. I hope Tom goes forward on him again today and slips him into a good, nice early position, because I don't see an awful lot of pace in here, and Calandagan is a proper hold-up horse.
Any concern about what that run took out of Economics, Dick?
Potentially, but I think he's been beautifully handled by the Haggis team all year, and I hope their patience is really rewarded again. I think they've handled this guy so well. Always a worry, especially running on quick ground like that, and especially given his attitude, because like Charon, probably won't give himself an easy race. But I thought the Haggis team were quite confident about him in the build-up, so we shall see. Although the money is all for Calandagan, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. Economics was, I think, touching even money with us in the anti-post markets, and slowly but surely people have come round, a bit like I have, and swapped sides.
Oh, they can do that all day long then, because I'm getting a bigger price bet Economics as a result of that. And like you say, he has been so well campaigned, so well handled, avoiding the derby. So you just know that when he turns up, he is going to be turning up to the best. And Night of Thunders, they actually love a bit of soft ground as well. So hopefully we'll actually only see better from him as well. And you talk about the pace angle. I also didn't see much pace in here, and I think that will work against Calandagan as well. Rather than Economics has got that versatility where he can be ridden as wanted or as the race pans out. And I mean, like you say, it's not going to go as against him as it did tactically last time out then at Leopardstown anyway. So if he can overcome that, I feel like he can overcome anything. Really wonderful horse. And you said there, Rixie, yourself then about the fact that JRB, who he beat into second, went on to win the Group 2 Prix Dollar at Longchamp in his next start. So the perfect boost. And what do we say about good horses all the time? That the collateral form just gets the boost again then, doesn't it? And they, not that JRB needs dragging up as such, he's a very good horse in his own right, but they drag up their opponents that they make look relatively ordinary as well. And Economics has been doing exactly that.
This is a proper clash, isn't it? It's kind of, you know, we usually get the Duel and the Downs at Goodwood every season when we have a clash there. I'm going to dub this the Battle of Berkshire. This is an absolutely proper race. Two mid-120s, 3-year-olds progressing with good trainers, good pedigrees. It's an absolute belter, and the two of them do look standouts to me.
Because that's what we want to see, isn't it? The real clash of the champions. Do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for the Champion Stakes as we head over to the sofa to give you our best bets of the weekend. Right, the all-important part now, our best bets for the weekend. Dec, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, going to keep it a little bit simple this week with the nap. I'm just going to put up Economics in the Champion Stakes. I'm hoping he'll handle softer ground better than Calandagan, whose real uptick in form has come on quicker conditions. And you just get the feeling the Haggis team think he could be even better on ground with juice in it. So up the Economics, who I hope will have a better run in the race as well in terms of tactics under old Tommy Marquand. The next best we've also also discussed, and that's going to be Guantanamera in the Fillies and Mares. If the rain does come, it will really suit her. I rate that form behind Arrest. I know Arrest maybe hasn't gone on like I felt at the start of the season, but she absolutely beat him silly, and she travelled all over everything into the straight. So hoping good old Stefan Pasquier will lose the Champion Stakes, but win the Fillies and Mares. And then the long shot is also going to be a filly, and that's going to be Swing Along. I just hope that she's drawn on the right side. She's got plenty of Ascot form. She's got form with cutting the ground, but she is drawn around other places like Buccaneer de Forte and those other kind of horses. So as we saw at last year's British Champions Day, prominent racers came to the fore, and I'm hoping it'll be the same with her.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think it really matters about the draw for her, because she had the good draw last year, ended up on the wrong side, so who knows where she'll end up. A good long shot though, Rixie. Sam, would you like?
Yeah, the Naps, so the last two have finished second twice. So we're hopefully third time's the charm to get back into the winner's enclosure. And Calandagan, for me, I'm going head-to-head with Dec. I think that 13-8 will shorten up a little bit as well. I'm really, really excited to see this clash. And I think, listen, as long as we both get fair runs into the race, I know pace has been mentioned as a bit of a factor, but I think something will pick it up and go on, because we've got a deep enough field in there that something we want to try and steal an easy lead. So I think that will suit my guy. I think the horse is going to be proven to be better than Economics. Tamfara, for me, is going to be my next best. I can't desert her. I thought after that Sun Chariot win, she's definitely teed up for this. 3-year-old's got a great record in the race. Fingers crossed. She's had a bit of an unlucky season, hasn't she? Kind of hit the crossbar a couple of times when she was arguably unlucky. So, yep, she will do for me. And then my long shot, kind of as we come towards the end of the flat season, I'm going to go all the way back to the start where Mr. Professor did me a massive turn as my long shot. So let's hope. Now he's got his softer ground again, history can repeat. Seen a trainer switch, that doesn't really bother me. Those ammo horses tend to have a different trainer every so often, don't they? But it's not always a bad thing, a change of scene. And whilst his marks remains fairly high, I just felt he could outrun his price at 22-1, given we're going to get softer ground, which will suit him much better than many in the closing handicap.
So trying to bookend your season then, Mr. Professor, but in the Balmoral.
He only put that up because he wanted to mention he put him up as a winner.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for doing that. I try and get him in as much as I possibly can for tips that I've previously won for me. And one of those has been Sharon, who's going to be my NAF again at this time around to hopefully be crowned as the best miler in Europe. And of course, he has the best form from this season of them as well. And I feel that finally, at the end of the season, people have finally started believing it was no source of a fluke. And if anything, last time out, I think he just further enhanced his profile in defeat at Longchamp. And hopefully, Sylvester de Souza comes back firing as well, back on the turf for him. My next best bet is going to be Swing Along at 12-1. So Rixie's long shot. My next best is actually a longer price than my long shot, but Swing Along, though, in a wide open division as ever. As I say, she probably isn't ideally drawn, but that can be overcome. And if she just runs the form of this race last year, then she is officially a £6 better filly on ratings. Should be bang there again. And I'm also going for the Balmoral. Carry the One. Didn't expect to see 10-1, to be honest. I feel that's a bit mean. I thought he was going to be bigger, but he's always a horse that's going to divide opinion. He has let people down a few times already this season, hasn't he? With some of his runs where he's managed to get himself into trouble, but I'm really hoping that Carry the One, though. We haven't got to run Tracey's trends on the Balmoral, but it is such a trends race. Look back at the last 6 winners of this. 2 were drawn in stall 4, 2 were drawn in stall 11. Then we had a 20 and an 8. So low drawn horses to the 4. 2 horses were rated 102, 2 were rated 105 of those winners, then a 109 and a 96. So rated just over 100 is a plus. And 3 of the past 5 winners ran in the 7 furlong Heritage Handicap at Ascot a couple of weeks before this meeting. Carry the One did. Finished 6th in that 7 furlong Heritage Handicap, rated 104, just above 100, and stall 5. So, tick, 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 tick. Hopefully, finally for Carry the One, when everyone has tried to abandon him
Tracy's trends cooking again.
I know, and I'm finally siding with Carry the One, who everyone else seems to have at some point this season. So I'm joining on the bandwagon and hopefully to success, though, unlike a few of the other times this season. Right, that is everything from us on this week's show, though. But before that, boost.
Oh, yeah, you might have noticed the absence of the more conventional boost. That's because, self-confession here, I was trying to do something very clever. I was trying to boost both Economics and Calandagan. Sadly, our boost machine didn't enjoy that.
That would have been something, to
It
be
would have
fair.
been something.
The
So
boost machine.
there's some good news and bad news. The bad news is that I haven't got the boost on Calandagan, but we have paired up on the main website your selection, your nap, Economics, with your selection, Kate Charin,
Yes.
7-1 from 6-1. That's on the main homepage. We have got a couple of boosts on the weekend winners page as well. You both like Swing Along, didn't you?
Yes.
So we've boosted Swing Along on there as well. And Kate, I believe your nap's on there as well. So do check that out. Just use the QR code. You'll be able to see all the boosts there. As ever, we'll try and be as competitive as we can, and they are dynamic, and we'll move with the markets.
As long as I've got Charon and Swing Along, I'm happy. It doesn't matter about your bets then. As long as I'm sorted, that's all that I care about. So I will be taking advantage of those boosts. Right, that really is everything from us on this week's show. So a big thank you to the lads for all of their hard work as per usual. Big thank you to you at home for watching. Enjoy the action. Of course, you can watch it all live on Sky Sports Racing. We'll be back at the same time next week to preview the best of the weekend action.